how much money have you made online and what do you do?
Well, I was just doing my taxes and I calculated it was around 700,000 I made. I help people, coaches and info sellers scale with funnels.
If you're a coach, consultant, thought leader, you're somebody who wants to actually start creating an info product. How do you set this up to start making your first $10, $20, $30,000 a month on the marketing side, the offer creation side, the product development side, and then we'll switch over and start talking about the sales side. So, okay, so let's say you're someone who's got the knowledge, you got the experience, you're already successful in the field. Now you want to get into the info game and move to Miami and do the whole deal. What's step number one?
The biggest mistake I think most people make, whether they're even at like, let's say $50,000 a month or even $100,000 a month, they actually don't start off with the offer. The offer is going to dictate everything that you do when it comes to your messaging. Who are you targeting? What is your positioning? What's unique about you? What is the actual thing that what's the reason why you're creating content? So if you don't start off with the offer, which most people, they have an offer problem. That's like 90% of the work. The people that we work with, like as soon as they come on board, the first thing we're doing is making them a solid offer. I don't like to use the word no-brainer. I think that's a little overdone because there's too many people out there like giving these crazy guarantees. That was the unfortunate thing about Alex Ramos's book, is that like people now know how to make good offers, which just isn't the case. They just start saying, I'll help you lose 60 pounds in 1 month. And you start getting offers like that. I'll help you lose 60 pounds in 1 month and gain, or I'll give you your money back if you don't. Like, it's just a ridiculous thing. But you do want to start off with a really, really, really solid offer that's able to scale to a 50K, 100K, whatever that you want to do. It needs to house people. It's also going to dictate your operations, how many people you're going to be able to accept into your program, everything like that. So offer is the most important.
Very interesting. Okay, and what specifically makes a good offer? If somebody's like, okay, you're an info thought leader, someone that's about to start this, what are the rules that they need to know about designing their offer?
I don't think guarantees anymore make a good offer. I will say that. Like, if you're offering a guarantee, that's just attracting the wrong type of person. Like, think about who needs a guarantee.
Someone doesn't trust themselves.
Somebody who doesn't trust themselves. So we actually don't make any guarantees. Any business owner who's doing over like 100K a month, they know that nothing's guaranteed in life. Like, I was talking to somebody who literally makes millions a year, and they're interested in my stuff, marketing for them. They're a little bit out of our space. So I was just like, I don't know if this is going to work for you. And I told him that up front. I'm like, I can't give you a guarantee this is going to work. You're going to possibly spend $60,000 with me, and you're going to get absolutely nothing from it. The guy said to me, he said, nothing's guaranteed. It's a risk I'm willing to take. So true business owners, people who are actually looking to implement the system instead of looking for the guarantee, they're more so understanding that everything's a risk and they don't need that guarantee. And they know that there's also things on their end that they need to do to make the thing work as well. I don't know. Did I answer your question?
No, it makes a lot of sense. Okay, so guarantees
you
are
asked
out.
me about like what makes a good offer. Right?
Yeah.
I don't think the guarantee makes a bad offer in my opinion at the moment because of the trust recession. Who knows? Like, guarantees could come back, and it like everything is nuanced. It depends who you're working with, but typically a good like key points that you need to have in the offer is like, one, your unique mechanism. Most people don't talk about that. Your unique mechanism is the most, and this goes back into your marketing. Like, you use your unique mechanism to market your content, and this is what's going to make you stand out more than anything. And the unique mechanism is the pathway of getting somebody to the results. So like, I like using fitness coaches because it's just the easiest thing to use. But if I, wanted to help somebody lose 30 pounds, what is the pathway? What is the steps to get there? What's unique about what I do from Joe Schmo, who's helping other people lose 30 pounds? And then you can use that throughout your marketing. And that also like creates that curiosity. Whenever you create ads, create organic content, you have this unique thing attached to you. The second is your positioning. Who are you targeting? If you're like an Asian dating coach, target Asian guys.
Right.
You won't have to compete with anybody else. Like, there's Coach Kyle out there who already has 1 million followers. If I start trying to target Coach Kyle's audience, I'm going to lose all. Yeah, I'm going to lose out every single time. But if I'm the Asian guy who's specifically talking to Asian people, 10 out of 10 times the Asian guy is going to go with me because I'm specifically talking to him. And then also my program is designed for that guy.
Yeah.
I can tell him what are the best haircuts for an Asian guy. I can
So are you looking for a specific demographic or specific issues you're trying to solve? Because
it depends if you want to go like high ticket or low ticket.
Mm-hmm.
High ticket, obviously you need to target people that have money. So that's one thing that I'm looking for. Like, do they actually have money? Look, you can target people that don't have money. It's just going to be a little bit harder. It's really also like the value that you provide. Are you displaying the value? Are you talking about the benefits that you're going to give them rather than saying, hey, I'm going to help you lose 30 pounds. You can say things like, hey, every time you look in front of the mirror, you're going to feel confident about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Like this one guy, we just came up with a really, really good offer for him. He was targeting like busy dads, helping them lose like 30 pounds. Everybody's doing that. There's just no way you can stand out. And he was in his ads, in his content, he was getting views, but he wasn't getting any sales. Like nobody wanted to reply to him. So busy dads is good, but what we wanted to do is shift that a little bit, go into tech dads. All of a sudden they have more money.
Wow.
And then if you throw the more positioning on top of that, this guy, he had like tattoos. I could tell that he probably rode a motorcycle when he was younger, got into drugs probably. He was telling me his life story. I don't want to put him on blast too much, but basically he was this masculine guy, right?
Right.
So it wasn't, we're going to help tech dads lose 30 pounds. We're going to help tech dads become more masculine through fitness.
Wow.
Nice. Yeah, super niche down.
Yeah.
This is very interesting. Okay, so because everybody talks about offer like it's a formula, like it's a math equation, but you talk about offer like it's marketing.
Yeah, I mean, there is like a formula to it if you want. Like there are the basics of it where have bonuses, pricing structures.
Yeah.
That, I mean, I guess that's really like the formula, but
Yeah.
there's nothing like too crazy. It's really like, in my opinion, it's about the positioning, who you're targeting, the messaging, which is so fucking important. Step number 2 is really just starting with content. Like you need to get attention on your shit. Mm-hmm. Attention is the most important, and obviously you can get that for cheap on Instagram. So you're starting off with content. The best thing to do is mimic the people who are already successful. So typically what I tell people, at least if they're beginning out, or at least when I was beginning out, I would put together a huge list of all my competitors, analyze every single one of their content, get their exact language that they're speaking. Who are they targeting? What are the keywords? What's the format of the video? And then I'm just mimicking that in the beginning. That's going to get you like your first views. And it's the fastest way to get really, really good at content instead of just trying something like from your head.
What's the specifics for what that 10 should look like?
That's a good question. So you don't want to actually find people who are at the top of their game, like they have 100,000 followers or more. You actually want to find people who are at like anywhere between 10,000 to, I would say, 70,000, because they're just on the come up. They're on the bleeding edge of what works on social media. Because if you have 1 million followers, that guy can just post. And if you're copying his stuff, it won't work for you. You got to start to mimic the stuff that is just getting picked up. Typically, like one of the best videos to replicate, obviously you're not like copying T to T, you're putting your own thoughts and perspective on top of it. But typically the best video is the one that is just going viral. And you take that format, you take that topic maybe, and then rework it a little bit for yourself.
Interesting. And does this work on all platforms?
I mean, I mainly focus on YouTube and Instagram, but every platform's the same. It's the same psychological factors that get somebody to watch your video and to convert from there.
Okay, so if someone's getting started, what should they prioritize, Instagram or YouTube?
Man, the way things are going right now, the only reason you do short form is to get people to long form.
Interesting.
So, YouTube. it's harder to build on YouTube, but in the long run, like a long-term thinking, it is much better for your brand, for your business.
Huh. Okay.
Because otherwise you're just getting fucking TikTok monkey brains.
Yeah.
You opt into anything that you do and they just don't even know what they opted into.
Right.
Like you can't form that relationship through Instagram. Now there's ways to do that and we work on that, particularly using like story posts. That's the best area to build out more of your personality, build out more trust, build more authority. But yeah, long form is definitely a lot better.
Of the attention split, like somebody that's starting out, how much time should they be putting into YouTube versus Instagram?
It really depends on who you are. There's a lot of nuances when it comes to content creation. That is the hard thing about it. But it's just really what you like. If you like shooting for short form better, you start off with short form. Although long form is typically better, but short form is a good gateway to begin and get started. But if it was me, like right now, I would focus like 60 to 80% of my time on YouTube.
But I was going to say, we got a lot more lifetime value out of the YouTube guys than Instagram. In terms of who converted, the lifetime value from YouTube has been way higher.
Yeah.
I would say it's the same for me too.
Yeah, that's actually very true. That's very true.
Now that I'm thinking about it, definitely. Because you just get like, I think from Instagram, like it's great. It's more of a messaging app to like book appointments more than anything. But if like people are just watching you on Instagram and they end up coming into your coaching program or something like that, they're like just dipping their toes in. They have that monkey brain. Not saying that everybody who follows me on Instagram is monkey brain, but you just get a higher quality person from YouTube because they're watching you for a longer time. Every person that I've invested into myself, I've always like followed them for a really long time on YouTube.
When I was selling your offer, anytime somebody said I found you from the YouTube, I would already start buying stuff that was in my Amazon cart because I knew they were gonna buy. You know.
Yeah, I mean, what was the close rate? Like 70%?
70 to 75. It was so high.
Yeah,
it was so high. And yeah, it's interesting you say that because like there's a stat that now I'm putting together. It was like 7 hours of content. It was
7-11-4 rule.
7-11-4.
7 hours of content, 11 different touch points through 4 different formats.
Right.
Four different formats.
What you want to try to do, at least like if you're in the info space, the game is, I mean, everybody's talking about it right now. The trust is at an all-time low. So you really want to maximize that 7 hour rule as fast as you can. Now, what we do is work on putting in systems that does that, whether if somebody's converting just off of Instagram, how can you get them to watch a ton of long form content before they even get on the call with you and become pre-sold.
Okay.
But the goal is to maximize that rule because anyone who gets close to it, like you don't have to hit it like actual 7 hours, but anybody who gets close to it is converting if they hop on a call.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. And how about the funnel itself? So they have the attention. What's the right way for them to call the action from that content?
So on Instagram, you don't really want to call to action. On Instagram, and I got this from J.K. Malona, he's pretty good when it comes to messaging. He's a really big guy in the space, and I don't mind stealing his stuff because it's good. When it comes to call to actions, you typically only want to do that on long form content. So only on emails in YouTube. On Instagram, all you're trying to do is get people to buy into your idea, not your offer. It's easier for somebody to buy into that idea rather than the offer. And that's taken from JK. And I totally agree with that. Because if I'm trying to call to action to my offer every single day on Instagram, it's just so short. Like the attention span of people is just gone. And, you know, they're going to swipe to the next thing. But if you get them to buy into the idea, like, you know, what we really work on, we don't necessarily use funnels. I mean, funnels are great.
Yeah.
But the way the market is shifting, all this trust recession, we use ecosystems, which does incorporate funnels, but it's more of this thing where you have multiple funnels per se that just keeps on nurturing people. But if I get somebody to buy into the idea of the ecosystem first before trying to call to action to my actual offer, like hop on a call with me, it's much harder. So you really have to nurture people, especially today. But then what you're doing is moving people to either long form or email, which is another really great spot.
Interesting. So Instagram is only meant to sell the idea and then sell the long form. Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Got it. Okay. So within the long form, how do we do the call to action?
I mean, I think people overthink it. It's just like, hey, you want to buy my stuff? Just book a call. It's nothing like that complicated.
Yeah.
What you should be doing in your long form, there are like key elements, I would say, that you want to put into the long form that's all designed to sell somebody without them knowing. I call it a YouTube VSL. If you know what a VSL is, it's just a video sales letter. It's just designed to sell somebody if they're watching it.
So got us like if you're describing a process that you would implement into someone's business, then you're like, by the way, if you want help with this, like go ahead and book a call here or something, and then you continue to explain and give value after.
Yeah,
like a little like drop in.
Yeah, I mean, the game right now is just, it's not necessarily about providing value. It's about, I mean, there's a lot of like components you need in order to convert somebody. Gaining trust, gaining authority is the biggest thing. So always calling action to your offer isn't the best way to gain trust. Like I much rather have people come to me. But of course, like what I'm doing after the intro of the video, I'm saying like, hey, if you want to just like skip the bullshit, just book a call and we can install this into your shit. Well, yeah, I mean, it's a lot easier to sell an inbound lead than a outbound. I mean, like what, do you know the percentage on?
Yeah, I mean, it varies industry to industry, but it's at the end of the day, inbound leads, they're pretty much sold. The only thing that's up an inbound lead is a salesperson.
there you go. Yeah.
Because they're
That's
there.
facts.
They're like, hey, help me. And you're like, sorry, I can't. That's like really what happens.
It's the easiest lead.
Yeah.
And that is what I am optimizing for. So what type of content does that?
Yeah.
What type of content creates a situation in the person's mind where they go, I need Brett to help me solve my problems.
Right.
That's what I'm really, really focused on.
Yeah. And what kind of content is that? Because you can still steal from people that doesn't deliver that right message.
It's a good question. I don't think it's actually giving value. I think one of the biggest things that was shown in this whole entire social media space is that the people that give value are the people that attract freebie takers.
Whoa.
Damn.
So like if I'm giving value, like why would anybody like value in the way of step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, do this, X, Y, Z. They're just going to take that and run with it. And then if you also get into the psychology of a high ticket person, they're not going to actually implement that, especially from an Instagram video. They almost want to be told where to look rather than here's the value. They want to be told the whys. And the best thing that the top info sellers and coaches do, they shift beliefs within the content. If you shift a belief in somebody's, you know, if you shift their perspective on something, all of a sudden they like you a whole lot more. The trust is there, and you also opened up their world to a whole different perspective. And now they see you as a leader. And what does a person naturally want to do when they see somebody as a leader?
Follow.
Yeah.
It's interesting because on a sales call, it's the same thing. If you break a belief, they're sold already.
Yep.
Yeah. Belief engineering, that's an interesting thing to get into. That's actually taken from Trey Cockram, and Alex Becker really talks about that. Really? He doesn't call it belief engineering, but there's certain like frameworks that you can use that I'm like kind of just discovering right now that you can use in ads that will shift somebody's belief in the ad, which is much better than like explaining your product, you know, A to Z.
Like what?
What do you mean, like the beliefs, the formula?
I'm curious.
Yeah. How do you do that?
Yeah.
A lot of that like comes back to the unique mechanism.
This is so backwards. This is guys, this is the opposite of what everybody's been hearing for the last 10 years.
Guess so.
Last 10 years, everybody's like, even Hormozy, give value, ask.
Well, Hormozy is playing a whole different game.
Yeah.
That is the problem. I love Hormozy. First off, like obviously what he does is super amazing, but
Legend. Yeah.
He's playing an entirely different game. He's playing how much goodwill can I build up till somebody gets to $1 million and then they want to invest in me, or 10 million, whatever his thing is, where he buys companies. But that's a whole different ballgame. That's a longer cycle he's playing. So he's just providing value until somebody like finally hits 10 million and they're like, damn, Alex Hormozy helped me get there.
Right.
Yeah. So you just have a completely different content thesis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, don't provide any value. Like people are just going to take that and run with it. I mean, look, there's nuances to content. That's the one caveat. People obviously succeed with providing value, but there's other elements that they probably have that make them convert at a much higher rate than somebody else.
Very interesting.
Even if you do like lead magnets or even the YouTube video itself, I like using YouTube as a lead magnet to get people from Instagram, the monkey brain people from Instagram to YouTube. You position your YouTube video as a lead magnet, as a VSL. But even with that, like, you're still not providing value, still providing insights into things.
So it's the why, not the what, or not?
Yes.
Okay.
It's the why.
Okay.
Yeah, like, let me think of an example. I guess, like, back to the fitness coach. If I'm going to, here's the 3 steps to lose 5 pounds in the next week, like, fast, whatever, step 1. Step 2, take a walk for once. Step 3, I don't know, don't eat like shit.
Yeah.
Cool. Now people can take that and run with it. But if I give more of an insight, let me try to think. It's tough to come up with on the spot, but more of an insight, I guess, would be, this is why walking will help you lose weight. And you don't tell them like how many steps you need to hit. You don't tell them the procedures. Walking's a bad example, but
I could break that down if you want.
Yeah, break it down.
Okay, so like when you're, there's 4 ways for your body to burn calories. So you have exercise activity thermogenesis, which is working out. Your non-exercise activity, which is like you moving your hands, like what we're doing right now. When we're talking right now, we're burning calories.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have your BMR, and then you also have your thermogenic effect of food, which is basically like breaking down the calories that you intake. So if as you get leaner, your NEAT starts to go down. So it becomes even more important and more imperative to actually do that. So like as you walk, you're able to burn calories without also spiking your hunger, which then makes you want to eat more calories. That'd be the why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just go autistic.
Okay, so you as the doctor for all of these info guys, what do you see them doing wrong the most of the time?
I like that doctor info.
Yeah,
That's actually good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The autistic doctor info.
Yeah.
You gotta play into that, bro.
Yeah.
Doctor info.
That's your proprietary thing.
I actually like that. Hold up.
There we go.
Yeah.
Hopping around from tactic to tactic.
On what side?
Funnel side. I actually funneling people in. People are like, I'm going to try a webinar funnel. I'm going to try a school funnel. I'm going to try a Facebook group funnel. I'm going to try a low ticket. I'm going to try a high ticket. I'm going to try call funnel, VSL funnel, whatever kind of funnel there is. They all actually work. So the question doesn't become the funnel. Yes, there's more efficient funnels. That's the key. That's what we work on.
Mm-hmm.
But they all work at the end of the day. A webinar funnel sells just as many people as a call funnel. Comes down to messaging.
Okay, this is interesting. Okay, so we started off with the first 2 steps, which was content and offer. Now we get to the ecosystem, right?
Mm-hmm.
So am I missing anything there?
I
Okay.
don't think so.
Okay, so can you give a high level overview of what the ecosystem is?
Yeah, I mean, the ecosystem is essentially a way to get inbound leads. A lot of people are focused on outbound leads. Like, I'm going to hit up 1,000 people on Instagram. Hopefully that 20% are going to reply to me. And then from that 20%, 3% are going to get on a call with me. And then from that 3%, 30% is going to close. I'd like to take a different approach where people are coming to me. When somebody comes to you, your close rate can be so much higher. And you don't have to do all that bull crap. Now, like, depending if you're trying to scale to past 100K, like going outbound's a good thing to do in my opinion, but you need to create an inbound environment. That's what the ecosystem's doing. The right content, the right types of funnels with the right messaging, the right offer that gets somebody to come to you, literally message you in the DM. How can I pay for your service?
That takes a lot of time to build though, huh?
Yeah, it's a lot of nurturing that has to happen. There are ways to make it as efficient as possible, and that's what we do. We, if we're running an ad, back to that 7-11-4 rule, we take the ad, put somebody in our DMs from that ad. The call to action is to the DMs. We link that in the DMs to the YouTube channel with the ManyChat sequence. The ManyChat sequence is capturing their email. So now they're in my DMs. Now I have their email. They're going to go through an email sequence. Now they're watching me on YouTube. The fastest way to get somebody into your ecosystem. Now that the algorithm is also going to be pushing my content to them on YouTube and on Instagram. And that's if somebody's like completely cold.
Got it. Okay, so that breakdown you just did right there, that's the dream ecosystem. essentially.
Pretty much, yeah.
So it's organic content that's very strong, plus the ad that puts them to the long form. And then you have the email and they're just getting nurtured. And then now at this point, are you making a call to action in the email or the long form, or are you just waiting for them to come to you?
So in the email, yeah, you do want to put call to actions as much as you possibly can, even on Instagram. And now I said, don't call to action to your offer. Only do that like once or twice a month, whatever works for you. But in the email on YouTube, you do want to like make the offer as much as possible. A lot of coaches don't make enough offers. They do think that if I just nurture, people are going to come to you. And that is true, but you can still get a majority percentage if you have a call to action. So yes, in the emails, you want to call to action to your product. You want to throughout the whole entire ecosystem or funnel.
Okay, nice. Okay, very cool, very cool.
I don't know if that was a good answer, but
No, it makes sense. Okay, got it. And then in that process, I want to get a little bit nitty gritty, okay, because I think it's something that I think about a lot. We're big on the sales side. So on that call to action, you have like Calendly forms and type forms and all of these things that are disqualifying your audience. Do you have a formula for the perfect questions to ask there?
a formula in a way, I guess. I mean, obviously you don't want to hop on a call with somebody. My perspective has actually changed about this when hopping on calls with people ever since doing the whole ecosystem. I'd much rather have a situation where somebody hops on the call with me and they know without a doubt I'm going to sell them at the end of the call. Because it means they're interested in buying. Whether they actually want to go with my product or not, that's okay. But as long as they're interested in paying to or investing into solving their solutions, I'd much rather have that person coming on the sales call. So when you're doing the forms and stuff, what you're really vetting for is number one, are you actually ready to get results? And you can tailor that however you want, depending on what type of coach or info seller you are. And then number two, are you willing to invest? Those are the two key things that you need. And you only really need to do that if you're getting unqualified people coming to your calls.
Got it.
I generally like to think the least amount of friction in the booking process is the best. The more that somebody has to fill out, the worse in my opinion. But then there's also the opposite side of the coin where they actually fill it out. It means they're more interested. So you kind of have to play around with the audience there and see what works best for you. If you have a bunch of unqualified people, have that type form in there, have those questions in there. Are you ready to invest? Are you willing to invest at least $2 to $5K, whatever your program is? You want to put that in there because you want people who won't show up to the call and I'm ready to go.
Yeah, then you get, if you don't have enough questions, you get a bunch of +91s stacked on your day.
Absolutely.
Yes, brother.
That's the
and
biggest
+92.
issue, bro. What's +92? Is that Pakistan?
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on with that. Don't get me started on that, bro. I might go off, but I think it's because Zuckerberg gave a billion phones to people in India. I think that's why.
Yeah, dude, I piffed one Indian and that's done for my sales career. I gotta ask you, man, how did you land Andrew Tate as a client?
I knew you were gonna ask me that.
I had to ask.
Well, I mean, I guess going back, I had a content agency. That's how I originally got started in this space. Yeah. Back in college when the lockdowns happened, I was like, fuck this shit. College is dumb. Yeah. I think you could opt in the class to just get a C. So I had to do no work, just no work because of COVID or the lockdowns. So during that time, I'm just I'm going to build my business. Always had an editing background. That's just my background. Right. Had multiple businesses throughout my entire life. I came to this realization. I never had a job.
That's wild.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's
so actually, I had one job, which was working at a ski mountain, but I don't even count that. It was when I was.
That's a sick job.
Yeah.
I think I was 15.
Were you actually?
I had it. So it wasn't even a real job. It was just being a ski instructor. But anyway, going back to it, I started a content agency in college. Started working with medium-sized creators. I was a part of that first wave of bringing people from YouTube, clipping up their podcasts, bringing it over to TikTok because that's when TikTok was new. I was like, this is a huge opportunity. So just hopped onto that, started clipping up people's stuff, bringing that over. I tell you what, I was probably like number 10 in that whole wave of just clipping stuff.
Wow.
Damn.
I started working with people like Coach Greg Adams. Do you know who that is?
Yeah, the red pill guy.
Yeah. You know who he is. I was quick with that. Started working with Coach Greg Adams, and he was on the Fresh and Fit podcast.
Okay.
You guys know that, right?
Yeah.
And then, so I was clipping up his stuff, putting it on TikTok for him. Saw a video of this guy called Andrew Tate, like in the title on Fresh and Fit. I'm like, who the heck is this guy?
Yeah.
Immediately, as soon as I watched that podcast, I was like, holy crap, this guy is about to blow up.
Yeah.
If he wasn't already that big. I mean, the first thing I did after watching that was search him up, looked at his Instagram. I don't remember the exact amount of followers he had at the time, but I'd say like 20,000 to like 50,000 maybe. Like he was just like getting started.
Yeah.
And from there, I clipped up some of his stuff on the Fresh and Fit podcast. I found his personal email. This is actually a really good hack for anybody starting a business. Find the person's email and send something to them for free, or even their phone number. Just got somebody who hit me up the other day. They found my phone number. They sent me an entire script. I'm like, great. I'm going to test it out. That's the best way to get started, by the way. Always worked for me. That's how I also landed like $10,000 deals in the beginning of my career. But anyway, back to Andrew Tate. I found his personal email, sent him the video, said, yo, can get you started on TikTok. TikTok's the place to be. You're obviously going to go viral there. And then he emailed me back. He's like, cool, how much? I said, $5,000 a month just to clip up, like, it was 20 clips at that time, which is like nothing compared today. Like the whole clipping army stuff.
Yeah.
20 clips at the time for 5,000. I think it was around that. Then he told me, he's like, cool, you want to get paid in Bitcoin? I was like, sure. And he just paid me in Bitcoin. So that's how it started. It was really that simple. I felt like I caught him at the right time. And I feel like that's a lot with business. Like timing is everything and nothing in business. I caught him at the right time. TikTok was just becoming a trend. Clipping stuff up was just becoming a trend. And I sent that to him, built up that reciprocity, which is so crucial when you have nothing to your name.
Yep.
I mean, I had a little bit of people that I was doing stuff for, but really nobody. Like, and you have to send things for free. You have to do the most valuable thing that you can do, which is give your service away for free. And that's how I got Andrew Tate, essentially.
Wow, bro.
Yeah.
It's historic.
It is.
Yeah.
It actually is.
First off, let me say, I don't like to claim his fame by any means. That guy was going to go viral with or without me.
Right.
Just happened to be a little bit of part of the process. I did bring him over to TikTok for the first time.
Yeah.
We scaled his first TikTok account to like 100,000, banned, scaled another one to 100. Like he would get to 100,000 in like 5 days.
Wow.
It was
That's
insane.
yeah.
Scaled like 3 or 4 accounts to 100,000, got banned. And then all of a sudden, I don't know like how calculated the clipping army stuff or the affiliate program stuff was.
Yeah.
I think it like something sparked the idea in his head. And I think it was that one of his partners like hit me up. He's like, hey, did you create another account for Andrew? I was like, no, that's not me. That's just somebody clipping up his stuff. And I think that's when it started.
It just went down. Wow.
Yeah, then so many people copied it after.
Yeah, people are trying to do that now. I don't know how much I believe in the clipping army stuff. Do you guys see value in it?
I think it's big.
No, I think it's huge. Though.
Yeah, I think it's going to do a lot.
I think it's huge for people who are huge.
I mean, if you have a good product, you just want as many impressions as possible.
The thing is,
they'll find you.
Yeah, it's a better. It sounds like there's a better ROAS on that than like running ads.
Ads is getting more expensive.
Yeah.
I do agree, but to me, I mean, look, I haven't looked super in depth into it. Yeah. Obviously, it's good. It's the top of funnel if we're thinking things in funnel form. It's just getting attention.
It's presence.
Yeah, it's presence.
Yeah.
And for me, I feel like that works better for somebody who already has presence, just getting them more presence.
I agree. Yeah.
Because
that's fair.
Another area where people go wrong, especially when it comes to Instagram, I think you guys were doing it too. Like you had multiple accounts, right? You still have, I don't know if you post on the other one.
Yeah, we have the like personal, like the private personal, and then we have the business personal, and then the Sales Bros page.
And the Sales Bros clips now.
Yeah, we bought a page with 20K
bro,
followers.
you fucking guys.
Yeah, we just bought a page.
Bro, you guys do that stuff. I just like the worst way to go about it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. There's there's ways to do everything, but the thing is, it just you're dividing attention.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
To make things simple, if you're selling a program or selling really anything online, like you want to beamline all the attention to one area. It doesn't have to be your Instagram account, but it has to be in the info product space of VSL.
Right.
Okay, but it's interesting because I was actually talking to somebody like in one of Daniel G's programs about like content versus running the business. Like when you're focused on money so much, like you don't have like the mental bandwidth or like the like creativity space to go all in on the content, which is like kind of what it takes to pop off now, especially because it's more competitive.
I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
If I have like a meeting in my day and the meeting's like talking to just even the people in my circle about business stuff and I'm supposed to create content that day, my whole entire content day is shot. Because it's such a creative energy that you need to get into. It is really hard to create content where you're just solely focused on the money. I think there's a lot of differences between, like, we talked about this before, speaking one-on-one and one-to-many. It's like you're really, really good at speaking one-on-one. I would say I'm really, really good at speaking one-to-many.
Yeah, I'm shit at speaking one-to-many.
Yeah, and I would say, like, what I've learned from you, though, I think it helps out my marketing, actually. As we say, when marketing and sales falls in love, that's the most beautiful thing that you can have. But speaking one-to-one has taught me how to pinpoint pain points much, much, much better. And then I've also realized, there's another hack. Anytime you have a sales call, any objection that comes up, you need to create YouTube videos around that.
They ask you answer.
That's part of the ecosystem. You're handling the objection before they even hop on the call. And having a really good post. I don't know how much you guys get into systems on the sales side, but having really, really good post booking systems is so important, especially if you're doing like cold traffic.
Yeah, crucial. I want to go back to something real quick. So the way that you prospected Andrew Tate, I want all of you guys that are in my DMs. Listen, I have 1,000 followers. Why is there 30 of you guys in my DMs asking to clip my stuff, to build my funnel, all of this stuff, and you've provided no value? Look how Brett landed Andrew Tate. He landed the biggest guy on the planet because he gave value first. He was straight to the point. He didn't say, "Hey, how's it going, mate?" Dude, I never want to hear, "Hey, how's it going?" It's so annoying.
You know what's the most annoying message? Hey, how's it going? Just made this thing for you. Is it cool if I send that over?
Yeah.
It's the biggest waste of time. You have one shot to get somebody's attention. Do the most valuable thing that you can do and just send it to the person.
You know what I started doing? I started sending them WAP links. $5 for an outreach message. I swear.
That's great, bro. You just set up an automated message. That's great.
It's ridiculous, dude. I'm tired of it.
No, I mean, especially on Instagram. That's like the worst place to outbound, in my opinion. Peace out, Moose. Have a good piss.
It's the second time he's done this on a podcast.
Take a shower in there, too. It's the worst thing that you can do. Outbounding on Instagram.
That's so funny. Yeah, it is.
Look, not hating to anybody that preaches outbound methods.
Yeah.
You know who you are if you're watching this video.
Yeah.
It only works if you create an inbound environment. Like literally the people that tell you to do outbound, the first thing that they tell you to do is you need to post content.
Right.
Because you need to build that authority. You need to have a good looking page.
Yeah.
Soon as even if you get a random dude who outbounds you saying, "Hey, can I send this to you?"
Yep.
First thing you're doing is checking out their profile.
It's so true.
And if their profile doesn't have a lot of story posts, that's the first thing they're pretty much looking at actually is their story posts. Right. So if you don't have testimonials on that, firing every single day, if you don't have authority building stuff firing every single day, you got one shot for them to look at your profile and reply to you. Yeah. So outbound, outbound's gonna work if I'm Iman Ghazi and I'm firing off 1,000 outbounds.
Right.
But it doesn't work if you're just starting out.
again, it's literally just like dating. It's the same exact thing.
Well,
If you're that guy, you have everything on your page stacked up. You got the money, you got the physique, you got the everything, all the social proof, all that stuff. You send the DM, it gets open in a heartbeat.
mm-hmm.
And if you're the dude that has zero, nothing, private account, 100 followers, it's a wrap every day.
You're done for.
Yeah.
The one interesting thing that I've been talking about with people inside like my inner circle is the energy that you have through content attracts the same energy. So if you want to be like a magnetic person, you need to have that energy in your content. Like I guess like explain it the opposite way.
Yeah.
If I'm somebody who's like stressed out
Right.
about my money, stressed out about getting conversions,
Yeah.
growing the business, all I'm going to do subconsciously through my content is attract people just like that. And they're the worst people to work with.
Yeah.
I think it displays through your content.
Yeah. What's that quote by Tesla?
If you want the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration.
I've been getting into that stuff. I'm not really like big on the mindset stuff, but been reading like Psycho Cybernetics, which is a really good book.
I read it. It's good. I think 95% of what gets spewed online is complete horseshit, and you probably just need to work more. But in reality, there is like some truth to it. And like I definitely feel this, especially on the sales side of things. Like your energy dictates how that call is gonna go, especially like how you're feeling about the outcome before. Like if you like one of the things that I love that what Daniel says, my mentor Daniel, he goes very, very deep into people don't know how you did the last call. They don't know that you shit the bed for 3 weeks. And if you come in with that 3 weeks that shit the bed energy, you're gonna repeat that same result the next time. And it's the same, it's basically the same thing with not just sales, but the way you market and all this stuff is just across the board. You get what you put out.
You're actually the person that opened my eyes to that.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Like you created a belief shift in me.
Oh, good.
Because you were saying like how, when you were helping me out on my sales calls, you were telling me how, just what you're saying, how important it is that you think that you're going to nail that sales call down, that you're actually going to sell the person, and you need to fully believe it. Otherwise, if you don't, you're subconsciously going to do things on that sales call that causes you to not get the sale.
It's so true.
Yeah.
And I actually tracked it.
Oh, really?
I tracked it. Yeah. I was like,
Wow.
every time I came in a sales call with the right mental energy,
Yep.
magic happened. And every time I didn't, magic didn't happen.
Yep.
Whether I got the sale or not, like I like, even if I didn't get the sale, I'd get off that call like, that was a great call. Felt like I was almost there.
Yeah.
But if I was hopping on the call, like, I don't know, this guy can sell him. It doesn't look like he really needs anything, that type of stuff. And then I would start to ask questions that led to that result. Like if I was thinking like, I don't really know if this guy actually needs my services.
Yep.
I started asking questions around like, hey, do you actually want my service? Like that's obviously being very blunt about it, but subconsciously I do stuff like that.
It's so funny. And here's a great tip that I give to all my setters, all my closers. And actually I used to do for you when I was closing for you. I would text you before the call and I'd be like, bro, I'm about to get a close.
Yeah.
Like I would literally do that. Every time I did it, it's an extra thing. You put it out into the universe that like, I will get this. And you have a better trajectory when you're on the call. You stop, you're less in your head. You're more focused on the other person and less focused on the outcome of like, what's going to happen. You already made the decision. I'm going to get the close today.
Yeah. I think another important thing that you said to me was having a ritual to get you in that state. Just like the text, but I think there's more things that you can do that will put you in that state. And everybody's just going to be different.
Everybody's will be different. But yeah, I think what's worked really well for me, number one, you have to do something to remind yourself of the most confident part of yourself. So whatever that is, like it could have been, I smelled this cup of coffee and last time I smelled the cup of coffee, I got a deal. It doesn't matter what it is, but you have to do something that's going to get you in the right mindset. You have to move. You have to get the blood moving. I think like if you're sitting, there's not enough of that like vibration or whatever you want to call it. Not enough of it is there. And then you have to, what I really like to do is, I got this from Hermosi, you read the positive reviews of what your company has done. So you remind yourself that you are not a piece of garbage salesperson just going for commissions. You're actually trying to like help
you two, the epitome of you two.
yeah.
The sales bros.
yeah. Like you're trying to help someone get a result.
Yeah.
So
no, that's funny you said it with the Alex Ramirez stuff. I didn't know he said that.
Yeah.
That's actually literally what I do.
Really?
I write down every person that I sold in and the results I got them.
Yeah. It's very effective.
It's more like being like a gratitude journal. I don't know if like you guys get into that, but kind of think it's a little gay, but I'm also like, maybe there's something to it.
Dude, how much do you know how much we sold for you when we were working together?
I think for the very short time that we were working together, you sold 170,000.
170? Okay.
That was like 3 months.
Yeah, it wasn't that long of a time. Okay, cool.
Because there was other stuff that we're doing together, but
Yeah, but directly when I was selling for you.
well, you did 40K in 2 weeks.
Yep.
I know that.
Yeah. Okay.
Mostly YouTube.
Mostly YouTube.
Yep.
Yeah. Very, very interesting. So what I want to do now, I want to dive into a little bit on the back half of this process. So you guys have done an awesome job like getting, your offer dialed in, your content dialed in, your ecosystem is built. Now you have a lead in front of you and you can actually go for the close. There's two things that happen now. You have the appointment setting side. So even if they've already booked the appointment, here's what you can do on the actual sales side to warm up that person. And then you have the closing side. So we can start off a little bit with the appointment setting side. But listen, I've made 50,000 cold calls. I've set millions of dollars worth of deals over the phone. But over DMs, this is the DM god because he got Tate, he got Robert Kiyosaki, he got 100 different people.
Entrepreneur Media. CEO. Yeah.
What can you tell people about DM setting?
DM setting is really like you're playing 4D chess. That's the name of the game. Like you always have to be like 6 steps ahead of the person who's messaging you, and you really, really have to take a nurturing perspective rather than like, hey, let's just hop on a call. Unless they're inbound, there's different scenarios with the appointment setting, but inbound you can just be like, all right, let's hop on a call. Outbound is a little different, or if they're just, I like to call it like warm outbound. They've already interacted with you in some sort of capacity, whether they followed you, they liked a video of yours, or they commented. You can reach out to that person. That type of outbound does work because they've already interacted with you, which is a permission to reach out. But from there, the number one thing that I see people do wrong when it comes to appointment setting is just not maintaining status. The low status will kill your appointment setting like no other.
What do you mean? How do people get rid of status on calls? Oh, no, appointment sets.
The easiest, like the lowest hanging fruit of that is getting rid of exclamation points. Like if you ask somebody, hey, what are you doing in your business? Like how many clients you getting every single month?
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm doing like 50K in client revenue every single month. And you go, oh man, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Like how would somebody who's already making $1 million act? If somebody told me they're making 50,000, just be like, that's cool. You want to make more?
Yeah.
That's a good line that gets a lot of people.
Yeah.
And you'll notice it's always the status game that you're playing with people. There's nothing more that people want, especially in the DMs, is status. You get people telling you the most craziest things they did 12 years ago just to gain some sort of authority over you. Of course, having a good account already puts you on top of them, but either way, if you're just starting out, status. So removing exclamation points, not being excited about anything, replying with things like gotcha instead of like, amazing, man. That's another one. And then you're also like just bringing people through tenets. Everybody has a certain amount of tenets they have to go through. First one is the engage tenet. Okay, you're just trying to spark some sort of engagement. And you can do that in a lot of ways, depending if it's inbound, outbound. There's different ways to go about it, but you're just starting a conversation, making them interested, making them engaged. From there, they have to go through 3 other tenets in order to pitch the call. So the other tenet is finding out their goals, finding out their current situation, and finding out their obstacles. You need to get 3 of those through the DMs before you actually pitch a call, or if you want to sell them in the DMs, pitch the price.
Here's one thing that I want to add on to this. I see this all the time with people in our world, in the info world. They will lose 50,000 deals in the DMs, maybe because they're not doing stuff step by step like you're doing, and they refuse to actually call someone. They'll never pick up the phone and actually just make a dial. Making a dial is probably this is, again, we're talking about like low-hanging fruit. This is such low-hanging fruit because nobody's doing it. It raises that level of connection to a point where when you hop on the call, it's more like that done deal. It's not as scalable if you're just starting out, but it's okay to do unscalable shit. And unscalable shit sells. So like, but you know, as soon as an appointment is booked, I want you guys to start realizing there's a lot of stuff that we can do to pre-sell them, the pre-sold lead system, and Brett can get into that later. But on the physical sales side, I think a great system for you guys as soon as someone books is selfie video. You need to sell the exit. You need to explain why they're on the call. And you want to confirm the actual meeting itself. So this is something massive, but like no-shows literally drain our resources because they take up a time on the calendar and it's not even an opportunity to actually sell now. So we just have an open gap where we're doing nothing now and they drain our sales energy.
Yep.
Because now we were so hyped up to close, someone's not there.
Yeah, you're planning your whole entire day around them.
Yeah, so we want to avoid as much of that stuff as possible. So the selfie video navigates a lot of that just by getting rid of the automations, getting back into the human element. So very first thing I'm doing as soon as I pop on that video is I'm telling people, bro, I'm super excited to hop on the call with you so that I can show you how we're going to get you from 5 to 10K a month. Reason that they're hopping on the call. And then I'm selling the exit right after. So that in 6 months, me and you can rock and roll together. Because what do people never want to feel? They never want to feel like they're getting sold. I'm here to service you. And if I can, I'll show you what I got. Yeah. And again, it's maintaining some of that status. It's the same thing in the DM that is on the call. But when you send off that video, you see a lot more people actually attend the meetings. So after you've done the video and the person has actually shown up to the call, this is just an area filled with landfields. And when I was working through your offer, there was 2 or 3 things that I was noticing some of the salespeople that were on your offer and then on offers all around were doing that just destroyed the entire process. What do you think some of those were?
That they're doing to destroy it?
Yeah.
Too excited.
Way too excited.
They'll show up way too excited on the call.
Yeah.
It's like you want to have good energy, but you can't be too excited because they're still going to be like, oh, like, okay, like everyone knows people are self-interested.
Yep.
So it puts up like a huge red flag right away.
Yeah.
Well, it's just like a authority, like same thing with marketing. Authority status is quite literally everything. Like you'll get people hopping into somebody's program and they're really big in the space. They just basically threw away like $20,000. They'll still like, I get people coming to me that's saying that I like gave this guy $20,000 and they still say how much they love that person just because they have that authority. Like, I'm like, did you get any results?
Right.
And they're like, no, but I love him. I love his mindset stuff.
Yeah.
Like, holy.
Yeah.
So, but that's what the authority and status does, man.
Yeah. That's crazy. It really does.
It's a big deal.
Yeah.
Sorry not to like bring you off track, but
No, but something else too that people really skip is they don't ask what people did in the past.
Yeah.
So like to predict the future, you got to study history. So you have to study their buying history and their thought pattern history. So then you can actually understand what's going to come up later in the call. Because that's usually what it comes down to.
Debris.
I never really understood the like whole pre-handling objections in the presentation before you actually pitch until like one day it like finally clicked to me. I'm going to try to like say it. It's more so like, all right, if you're getting a objection saying like in our space, people go like, I was scammed a lot.
Yep.
Okay. So then I never realized that you needed to like ask a question like that in the beginning. Like, who else have you invested into and trying to get this result that you want? And then you find out like what would be that objection. Right. I never understood that until like, I don't know, just one day it clicked.
Yeah.
Maybe you can speak more on that.
Yeah. So the pre-handling of objections. So like this, again, this starts all the way back from the beginning of the sales process. So the sales process is intro, qualifying, presenting, closing, referrals, and button up. So that's the entire sales process in a nutshell. So it actually starts at the very beginning. So the very beginning is the intro. In the intro, you have to do 2 things. You have to, obviously you're going to welcome them to the call, all that good stuff. But what you really need to be doing there is you need to be selling the exit hard so this person can open up to you. Because if you don't, they're not going to open up to you and you're going to miss what you have to pre-handle. So the very first thing is getting that person comfortable. You want their shoulders on the floor. And so that's the first part. After the intro, you go into the qualifying process where you have to start digging into that person's logical issues, their emotional issues, their dream scenarios and the scenarios that they fear the most in life. And you have to make sense of all of that. And you have to get them to make sense of all of that. Because, dude, I don't give a shit about what you say. I might think that you're lying to me the entire call. And a lot of people are lying to me on social media, on sales calls. I have so much debris from what a sales situation feels like from going to a car dealership. So I'm not giving you any information, but I trust everything I say. So a good salesperson, all they're trying to do is ask the right questions to get that person to think. Because if you think about it, dude, we're on calls all day. And when we're not on calls, we're in Miami, doing Miami. When you're not on calls, you're skiing. You're never actually thinking about the problems that you have. So the job of the salesperson is to get me to start thinking about those problems. So the qualifying section is about digging into that person and really discovering every single area of that, logically, emotionally, every single side of the equation, to the point where you have sunk them. And you don't want to ever present until that person is sunk. You can think about a sales conversation like a ship going through the water. What you're doing during the qualifying discovery phase, whatever you want to call it, is you're poking holes in that ship. And until that ship is completely on the floor, if you present, the problem is your presentation is a little island, the ship might go right over it.
Yeah, exactly.
So
exactly, yeah.
So that's what you have to be doing in the qualifying section. And that's where you start finding all of the objections that are happening. So you're digging about their past. You're digging about how much money they're making. You're digging about who's helping them making the decision, their spouse objection, all of this stuff. You find all of that. Now, the way that you can actually change those objections and pre-handle them, my favorite way to do it is by giving stories. So it's to bring it back to the ship objection. Essentially, they're anchors. What you're doing is you're giving a story that makes their objection a reason to buy. So the fact that their spouse is involved, first of all, if you find a spouse objection early in the call and you still pitch, there's two things that could happen. I mean, if you do a very, very good job, you flush out this objection, it's bullshit early on, you pitch, you might still get a deal. But if you know that's truly not the decision maker and you still pitch, then you f yourself. Business partner, you f yourself. There's a lot of different things. So, but the pre-handling of the objection really is just giving them a story to change the perspective. I know that was a super long answer, but.
No, I mean, I think I would say if anybody's watching, I would say that I don't think I've ever seen a better salesperson than Jameel. Like, I've been to I've invested myself into a lot of like programs, at least like in this space. Dude, there's people suck out there, man. Like, I've watched this guy literally make somebody mad at him on a call, screaming at him, and then turn around and got a $2K a month deal. Which was wild. As soon as that happened, I was like, holy shit. The guy was like literally telling him, like, stop being an asshole to me. And I was just sitting there like, should I like end this meeting? And then Jameel's like, come on, man, just pay 2K. And I was like, holy shit.
Oh,
it's magical.
I appreciate
but no,
that,
like you're honestly the best. I like back to that, like opening somebody up. So literally just on a sales call with somebody the other day, like they were trying to sell me something. First thing the guy said to me is like, you didn't confirm the call with us. I'm like, well, where'd you guys message me? He's like, on Instagram. I'm like, I get thousands of messages. And he was like blaming me. Like, he showed up late to the call and he was blaming me. And as soon as that happened, I definitely like subconsciously closed off because I did not answer that guy's questions during the call.
Yeah.
Like how would you handle that?
How would you handle a negative if someone shows up late to the call?
Well, like, what's your opinions on like what he did there? Like, he was telling me that I didn't confirm the call. It was my fault. Like, do you think you would ever do that if you actually end up on a call with somebody? No.
Yeah. No, never. I mean, listen, like if somebody is late to the call, I think it's a good idea to check it.
Agreed. Because
you don't want to, again, it's about status, right? So like if you let it go unchecked, the problem is there's not going to be enough respect for them to take you seriously throughout the process. But you also have to do it in a way that keeps the rapport still there. So I think it's multiple things, but if you start being a dick to that person, you're not going to get a positive response. Yeah. So
if there's any like friction in that sales process, like if you're arguing, I don't know how you did it, but if you're arguing with somebody, the sale's not going to happen.
Yeah. So with that guy, it was a little bit different because like It was a very high pressured sales call, and like that's not my favorite way to do things ever. But I knew for a fact that he wanted to do it, but he couldn't get over his own limiting beliefs. And sometimes you have to go into coaching mode to get a sale done. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you switch over from salesperson to coach. And like when that happens, it really is about just getting that person over the edge. So you might have to have a harder conversation with somebody. And this is why it's so important to have your pre-call ritual there, because if your head is not 100% in the sales call, you can't ask people hard questions. You're not going to be 100% present. You can't go that deep with somebody. And the reality is, bro, the sales call itself is a lot more difficult than what everybody's used to, because everybody thinks they can sell because they have friends and, bro, let's go, we're going to go to Ruth Chris tonight. No, dude, let's go to Fogo de Chao. Like, and you think you got the sale.
Yeah.
That's very different from getting somebody to pay you $10,000. It's a difficult conversation. So you got to be present, and you have to be able to ask people hard questions. So, but going back to it, Brett, me and you restructured the entire presentation for your product. When we were going through that, what were the reactions when it was bad, and what do you think created those negative reactions?
Yeah, the reactions when it was bad is just confused. And then you said something to me, if anybody's confused in what you're giving them, and it obviously makes sense in hindsight, but if you confuse somebody during that pitch, they're never going to buy. Yeah. You're never going to get somebody to buy when they're confused, especially handing over $10,000.
Right.
Who's going to do that? So previously my pitch was a little bit confusing because it can get technical. I can get autistic about funnels and really dive deep into it, but we reworked it to be a little bit more. It's so weird. This is where like the speaking one-to-one and one-to-many like should click in my head. Yeah. But if for some reason it didn't, like a good copywriting technique is making things feel tangible.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I wasn't doing that in the pitch for whatever reason. And you helped me make it like step-by-step tangible. The reaction after, and also another thing that you did was, and I don't think other people do this enough, is make a good back and forth and make the pitch a convo. That was a really good advice, because I think too many people kind of get into presentation mode. Like you're showing the whiteboard and you just lose the person. That's when the guy starts going on their phone. So if you ask them questions and have a conversation around it throughout the pitch, it causes them to be more involved and paying more attention. So that was another shift that really made the pitch really well.
Hit the nail on the head. It's two things. It's number one, having a good back and forth. Nobody wants to be preached to, and death by PowerPoint is such a real thing. So save the presentation for yourself, show it to your mom, let her give you some props, and move on, because you don't ever want to kill someone by PowerPoint. The second part of that is it needs to be a conversation, because you need to be doing check-ins throughout the entire time, and you need to be making sure that that person is with you, because if they're not, you need to go back and re-explain everything. The presentation is not actually a presentation. A really good presentation is two things. Number one, it can only be given to one person. So a really good presentation I can only give to Brett Fullerton. And if I give it to Moose, he won't buy. And number two, it has to be not a presentation, but a game plan. People hate presentations because they hate products. I have my AirPods for one reason, and it's because I want the noise cancellation feature. And if the AirPod sales rep came up to me and starts talking about how good the sound quality is, does this thing cancel noise or not? It needs to be something that's only about what matters to that person, answers their pains, and gets them to their goals. And it has to be a 1, 2, 3 game plan. If it goes too deep into number one or number two or number three, and it does not correctly answer their pains or their goals, people get confused, and the confused buyer does not buy.
Yeah, that was another really big shift. Everything you do should tailor towards that person. Another thing that you're telling me is finding that silver bullet to tailor towards. That was a really good advice.
100%. And so what he's talking about there is the DBM, the dominant buying motive. And I actually got this from Grant Cardone when I used to work for him. But the DBM is one of those things where you should be finding it on your setting call, so that your presentation can already be pre-tailored. But the DBM is one of those things where it could be, there's a surface level DBM, dominant buying motive, which is I want to make more money. But in the qualifying section, if you can get to why they want to make more money and you can get to the real reason, not the I want to buy a Ferrari or whatever, but you get to the real reason, which is, my family is not doing well. I cannot get a girlfriend. It could be something like I'm late on my car payment. It could be, there should be a very real painful reason. That will close deals. Emotions sell, logic can seal, but emotions sell. So that's everything on the presentation side. But one thing I want to touch on real quick is the close.
Because you see these catchy lines on Instagram, you're like, oh, I need to do that.
Yeah.
But that's just marketing to get you to like ship the belief of how you're supposed to do it.
Right.
Or just to like prove that you can do it in like a sexy way.
Yeah.
Because people want to do it in that sexy, like with that swag. But really what works is not that at all.
I think half of that stuff is fake.
It is.
Yeah.
No, it is.
It's all fake.
It's for clicks. You gotta get the impressions. No one cares about the real way to do it.
Yeah, because by the way, if you guys are following anybody on Instagram and they're handling a different objection every single day on a sales call, that's a terrible salesperson. Because in reality, you should not be getting objections every single day.
Yeah.
Like if you really know what you're doing in sales, you should be going through the qualifying process so perfectly they get to the end of the call, it's a yes, no. Yes, no. No, this does not make sense for me. Yes, I'm going to do this. And by the way, if it is a no, you should know that and you should not pitch. Guys, if you were a sniper and you had one target and you were in an area and if you take the shot, you're going to give up your position and screw up the whole mission, you do not take that shot until it's perfectly lined up in the crosshairs. Too many salespeople go for the close before that person is lined up. So I think at the end of the day, the close should be the easiest part of the sale. And it should only be easy because you have gone to war in the qualifying section and the presentation. And if you haven't, you're going to get to the close. And what ends up happening is now you have to go to war there and you got to handle objections. You have to close 8 times and that person's going to hate you forever and all of this garbage.
Yeah. No, yeah, but at the end there should be so much rapport and so much trust that like even if they give you something, it's like they almost feel bad giving it to you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Because they're like, yeah, you were just so good at walking me through this and leading me through the whole process. Like, thank you. Like, they should be appreciative of you at the end, to be honest.
It's 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, and those are the best people to work with. Like when you do a good sales job, they understand the whole thing. You don't force them into it. They end up getting the results.
Yeah, and by the way, okay, so if you're an unethical salesperson, you sell somebody in that shouldn't be in the program, it's not just bad for your subconscious and like how you're going to sleep at night, but it's bad for business. The chargeback, you're going to get your commissions ripped. The business owner is going to have to give back that money. And now you have a negative review to deal with online.
Yeah. That's also why it's so important that you take care of your personal life well and your expenses. Because when you're desperate for money, you're going to sell people that don't need to be in there.
Oh.
And that goes back into and then it fucks up the business owner and everything. It's a just negative cycle.
Yeah.
There's a good way to deal with the negative reviews. Not that I get negative reviews, but someone gives you a negative review, use that turn it into a positive. Just put it on your landing page or wherever you send the testimonials. This is what happens when you don't put in the work.
Oh, I like that. I like that.
He's reframing it.
Yeah, reframing it.
Yeah.
It's a good one. It's like, I want to be on, and it comes back to that trust aspect.
Yeah.
It's a great way, I don't know, maybe you can fight me on it, but I think just showing your negative reviews, if you have any, and just saying, this is what happens if you don't put in the effort.
Bro, if you went back and you looked at all the sales calls that I closed for you, every single one, I shit on you and the product.
Really?
In the best way possible. I was like, Brett sucks at this, and this. This is what he's good at. And that is the exact same thing. If you can reframe all the negativity first, front load that, the trust explodes.
Maybe I'll start doing that on a call.
Yeah. Yeah, you should.
I suck at this, and
Yeah.
just get have fun.
No, but I guess they're not expecting to hear it. So it's like a huge pattern interrupt. Like, what do you mean he sucks?
Yeah.
Or what do you mean this is bad? Like, why are you telling me something bad about your product?
By the way, I'm shit at TikTok and Twitter. If that's you, just hop off the call right now. That's what you want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It sinks them. It's one of those things where, because people just crave that honesty. It's again, I think a lot of sales is reverse psychology, and they're expecting to be sold to the whole time. So when you tell them, so we can work together in 6 months, when you tell them I suck at this, when you tell them we're probably not going to be a good fit, it's that pull that just comes to you because they're not expecting that.
I like the jiu-jitsu analogy that you have. If you I mean, you could say it's your thing.
Yeah. It's so in jiu-jitsu, a lot of times like our natural reaction in sales is to fight. So when you first go to jiu-jitsu, it's the same exact way when you first start sales, which is if somebody gives me an objection, if someone gives me a knee, my reaction is going to be to push up against that. And what you learn in jiu-jitsu is that when someone's pushing up against you, the best thing you can do is pull them towards you so that you can control it. So in sales, it's the same thing. If somebody tells me that they got to talk to their wife, yeah, 100%, man. So by the way, what's your wife's name? Oh, it's Janine. Okay, cool. Yeah. So you and Janine, how long do you guys want to think about it? 2 weeks? Dude, let me give you 4 weeks. And you're pulling back. You're selling that door. And it's the same thing in jiu-jitsu, same thing in sales. So the more that you can have that pull, the more that they will start coming back to you. And now they're open. Now you can really start digging into them and you can start finding what's really going on there. Because guys, it's never the wife, it's never the money, it's never anything besides the fact that they think your product is shit. Because what would that conversation look like if they didn't have the money? Because Moose gets this. Moose gets to the end of the calls and then people go, yeah, I don't have the money, but just give me 1 day because I got to talk to my bank to get the loan. And then they pay him.
Yeah.
So it's a very different conversation if it's something they know will actually serve them. So.
Yeah, because if you get to the point where it's logistical, then you know you did your job. But there's also intuition part. They could also be lying, of course, and that happens. But you'll be able to know with enough experience too.
No, but like
they are.
You've gotten objections that were actually deals.
Yeah,
and it's because you did your job.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
No.
So, sales bros.
Yeah.
No, but one line that I like from you a lot is the like hyper honesty. Like I'm so selfish that what I'm trying to do here is take your money for life, and the only way I can do that is if I get you such great results right now.
Yeah.
Here's the payment. Take care of it.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. No, it's a good line when somebody says, "Oh, you're a great salesperson." Like, yeah, 100%. I am a great salesperson, but I mean, I really want your money today, but I mean, I don't need it that much. I just want you to get good results so I can take your money for a lifetime. Is that okay with you? So there's something like that.
Yeah, they like it because it's honest.
Yeah. But
I'm thinking about using that one.
Use it.
I didn't know that was like a thing. Because I've been getting a couple like, you're good at sales.
Oh yeah.
You just want my money.
So what do I want to say?
Good at sales is the worst objection because it means you're selling.
I didn't know that was an objection.
Yeah, it means you're selling me. So it means like you've not given me enough. What it actually means is that I don't feel enough empathy. That's what it actually means. It means that I'm sold on your product, but I'm not sold on your product for me. So what that means is that, again, to bring it back, it's always about the cue. Are you actually finding this person's needs? Are you actually understanding all of their beliefs that they have in their head, their pains and their goals? And are you going deep on all of those? And if you skip that or you fast forward on that, you get to the middle of the call, you get the presentation, and they're like, this sounds great, but it sounds great for Josh, not for me. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. But so, okay, the last part of this, after you actually go for the close is very simple. Total investment to get you from current situation to desired outcome is just going to be $5K. But because of a really, really, really good reason, today it's just $4K. So you have your closing formula there, you get the deal, and then from there, it's just going to be referrals and button up. Guys, if you're a salesperson or if you're a business owner and you take the money and then you do not give them something to do, you're going to have a chargeback to deal with tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The button up has got to be lightning. It has to be so fast. And you're super lucky because you have a great fiance that is on it. And I remember when I was closing deals, right after I'd close them, she was on it, ready to go, and has everybody like in the process.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing that's going to happen is immediate buyer's remorse. So
right,
you need to do everything you can to like get a quick win.
Yeah.
Whether it's just like filling out a form and being like, congrats for filling out a form.
Yeah.
Just make them feel good.
Mm-hmm.
Something.
And then like if they join your program, you should be like, everybody who's involved on your team, doesn't have to be a big team, should just be sending them a personal message.
Yeah, I love that.
And that's what we do.
You got to launch them.
Yeah.
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 It'll launch them into success. So
and then in college. Yeah.
The same college. Yeah.
I want to get a clip from you guys What do you think is like the number one thing that you've learned from Daniel?
Dude, there's a lot. I can go.
Bro, that's tough.
Dude, I think you should tell your story, how you
How I met Daniel.
linked with Daniel, bro.
December of 2023.
He knows the day. That autistic fuck. He knows.
December 2023. It was a Saturday afternoon. Rain in the sky.
No, it's like that though.
Wait, when I went or when we both went?
No, when you went.
When I went, okay. How does he know when I went, bro?
When we went, it was March 30th, 2024.
So
And then when I went on my own, it was April.
Yeah, that story.
I think some people are wired like that. Like,
Yeah.
I can't. If you ask me, like, when did you do something? I'll be like, I have no idea.
I can't tell you my dad's birthday.
Yeah, me either.
I'm really. Yeah.
No, I know.
Yeah, I actually can't. I'm horrible at that stuff. No, but yeah, went out to the first mastermind event. I dropped 5 G's, and I didn't have that much money at the time. I was working a B2B sales job, not doing the best. But I knew what I needed to learn, but I needed a push. And one of Daniel's sales reps at the time gives me a call, says, come out to this event. It's 5 G's. I started sweating buckets, but I paid it. And I came out to the first event and changed my life forever. It made me realize 2 things. Number one, that my ceiling was way higher than what I had envisioned in my own head, in terms of my actual vision. And then number 2 was the amount of work that I needed to do to get to where I want to go was not even close to what I was putting in. So I was just leaving a lot on the table. And then actually number 3, which was the work actually doesn't matter that much if the systems are not dialed in. So I learned those first 3 things at the first event, and I kept going to more and more and more events. And I was hooked. I loved Daniel, loved the energy, but we weren't working together yet. But I always knew I wanted to do something. Then we both ended up at the same B2B sales job. We both ended up quitting, moving to Miami. We got different sales jobs there for some big high-level influencers in Miami, on the same level as Kiyosaki and all those people. And then we both quit those jobs, ended up coming out to and then we both quit those jobs, started a sales agency, and you were my first client. So started working with you, started making some decent money, and then started stacking clients, worked with some really high-level people. And then one day I just hit up Daniel. I was like, hey, bro, I need some coaching. Like, I'm doing this new thing. This is what it is. We're kind of struggling a little bit, but there's promise here. We need some direction. And he's like, well, dude, I don't really want to coach you, but I am looking for a partner. And from there, the rest was history. And everything happened. I think the biggest lesson for me was, number 1, invest in yourself, because you have no idea where it's going to get you. So sometimes you're scared to drop money on a course. You're a little bit scared if the information's actually going to be what you need, but sometimes the network is more important than the information itself. And then the second thing was, dude, DM outreach works. Because after all of that, it was a DM that landed the partnership that made me the most money I ever made in my life. So,
yeah, I think like the reason why I'm even in this like info space, coaching space, is because I've seen what the information, access to information and just network can change like somebody's life, not only for the person paying for it, but for the person providing it as well, on both ends. And throughout like my whole entire business career, throughout my life, like I've always invested into info products, and it's changed my life for sure. So that's why I like helping people out who do info.
Sick, bro.
Dude, how many people's courses have you bought?
At this point, I probably invested, I don't know, I want to do the math on it. I would say I probably invested like anywhere between 50,000 to 100,000 into myself, and I'm just getting started.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So what makes you like actually go buy it, like you individually?
I think it's just a recognition that literally if you don't have what you want at the moment, it's because it's just a pure lack of knowledge and skills. And you can either find that knowledge and that skills through time, or you can pay for it and make it a lot faster and a lot better. Just like, if you were shooting a basketball and you get these like bad habits when you're shooting a basketball, but like you just keep on training, and then you finally get a coach who knows how to shoot properly. They have to unwind the whole entire bad habits that you had, where you can just pay for that information that fucking works instead of you figuring it out yourself. And you can. There's a lot of things you do have to figure out yourself, but it's just, in my opinion, just pay for it.
Okay. And like, if there's different people that have that knowledge that you want, like, how do you pick between those two? Is it just off how, like, if you like them, or what else is it?
I was actually just talking to somebody about this. Do they have the lifestyle that you want? Are they the person that you want to be?
Like qualities or the lifestyle?
Lifestyle, qualities, beliefs, perspectives.
Okay.
Right? Like if I'm, if I want to start a family and I want to get a mentor who's built a business to $600,000 a month, I'm not going to get, I don't want to say any names, but I'm not going to get a guy from Miami who's partying every single time.
Right.
I want to get the information for somebody who's built the business, built a great family, has a great relationship with his wife and his kids, because he knows the not secrets, but he knows the knowledge, he knows the skills to be able to have that, rather than somebody who might be doing 600,000 in Miami, but they're partying every single day.
The
It's just
values.
the values is really, really important. Yeah.
Yeah. That's so interesting, because they're going to have a different approach to it than somebody who has the family.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
I mean, like, there's different approaches to everything. Like, you just kind of find what works for you, and find the people that you know that have the right information that works for you. But I mean, I don't think I'll ever stop investing in myself, investing in my knowledge. That's literally like the only thing that you're left with at the end of the day. Like, you can tear your whole entire business down. I now know how to fucking market. I now know how to appointment set. I now know how to sell a good product. I now know how to sell people on a call, gaining that skill. Like, and I could just take that over into a new business.
Manage. Yeah, exactly.
Access to information is the fucking shit, man. Buy my course.
Yeah.
But I mean, look, there's like obviously people out there who aren't, I'm hungry, who aren't good at it.
Yeah.
We'll get steaks.
We'll get some steaks. Yeah.
We should get some food. But
Yeah.
I mean, look, there's a lot of people out there that aren't good. Even though if you invest into a bad course, I still think that's worth your investment. Maybe if you don't spend like 60 grand on a course, but
Yeah.
you still learn like what not to do.
Yeah.
Which is almost as valuable as what to do sometimes.
So true. Yeah, I mean, like, the beautiful thing about the whole info world is it collects the right data for you faster. I mean, you're probably gonna find it. You probably don't need to buy any course, but it's just sick that you get to get it instantly. Yeah. It's like it's a way to time travel.
Yeah, I mean, I like the biggest problem though in the info space is that people only, like, I think the statistic is like about 5% complete the course.
Yeah.
Which is wild. And I
crazy.
think now with the whole AI stuff coming out, it's really, really, really going to up the game of like your product. Because the thing with like software, it's the same outcome every single time. That's why you see software companies scaling to $1 billion.
Right.
There's no info sellers scaling to $1 billion unless they put a software like Russell Brunson on top of it.
Yeah.
It's because it guarantees the same outcome every single time. Life's life. Like, you can hop into a program and you might not get the same outcome, but you still get knowledge. That's why I think it's valuable. But with AI, it's starting to bridge that gap, which is really, really important. Infrastructure, like making somebody go through the program much better, much faster, getting the same result.
Very interesting.
But on the other end of it, like AI being added, like information is, you can get information from anybody.
Yeah.
You can get, like, most people use ChatGPT like it's Google.
Right.
It's just the baseline stuff. Like, you can just search up information. You can search up how to build a $1 billion company. It's all out there online. So I think the valuable thing in the info product space is really, 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 really leaning into your authenticity. Once again, it's not, people don't buy people don't buy coaching. They buy the coach.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of it is just all about personal brand, personality, all of that stuff.
Yeah, it's just being good at personal branding.
Yeah.
And that, and not in a sense like being an influencer. I think people get that mixed up. More so in a sense of displaying your beliefs, displaying your values, providing value, providing insight, not trying to like do TikTok dancing. That's completely on the opposite end of the spectrum, but more so, I really think like people now in the info space are more so buying the community than anything.
Yeah.
Of course, access to the information is really, really important, but the secondary factor is the community. Like I know people who are
Community's so underrated.
at the top of their game, like top levels in the info space. I've been pitched by them and they're just selling the community, bro.
Yeah.
Which is good. Like I was contemplating like buying into a community. It's like fraternity shit.
Yeah.
But it works.
I know a mastermind, it's $100,000 a year, and it's purely community.
Yeah.
Yeah. There is no course. There is no program.
But I also think that is fucking valuable at the
Yeah,
end of the
It
day.
is,
Like
it is.
being able to talk to people who are just like you, who think like you, who can pick you up if you're down,
Yeah.
vice versa, is so crucial to your success. I think the worst thing that you can do in business, and I actually fell into this trap, is surround yourself by four walls. It's the worst thing to do, because when you're like, you start to get into negative energy, going back to like frequencies and stuff, you start to get into negative energy. There's no one else there that has an abundance of positive energy, has a good mindset around you. And it's just you like beating yourself up in these four walls the whole entire time, where you need to like be put in a community where you can talk about good ideas.
Exactly. That's why it was so dope when me and you connected, because it was like, dude, you're going to take a sales call at 11? I'm like, yeah. And you're like, all right, sick, bro. I'll be there.
Yeah.
Like that is very rare. Like,
It
when
is
you find people that are like on that same wavelength as you, that are willing to grind it out, willing to work, want to improve, all that stuff. It puts you on that level that you didn't even know that you could really get to.
Yeah. I think, finding the people that you connect with. I swear to God, like right now, info is in the selling the fraternity phase.
Yeah.
That's really what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like back to a fitness coach, like if I want to become more masculine, I want to be surrounded by other people who are along that journey,
Yep.
becoming more masculine through fitness.
Yeah.
That's what you're truly selling,
Yeah.
not the fucking lose 30 pounds.
Right.
Yeah.
It's community. Yeah.